like quite a large quiff. You could get away with it in school, plaster it down a bit, and then sort of change it out, when you went out at night. He was, I don't think any different from the rest of us. We were all trying out different hairstyles and things at that sort of stage of the game. I mean, Presley was on the scene. You'd have Bill Haley before that, but you had Presley, then you had sort of Jerry Lee Lewis and the Golden Locks and whatever. And everybody who happened to like a particular singer used to try and copy that person's, it doesn't sound very good, that, but they used to try and copy that person's sort of attributes, yeah.
The question of George's contribution to the Beatles and what would they have been with him or without him probably really is a two-part question. Initially, he was really the third member of the band. Once they hit that roller coaster ride of success and he started to play some of those great solos, he was then accepted, I think, musically by Paul and by John as being a very, very integral part of the group.
Their admirers spanned the generation gap, and in 1965 they were all awarded the MBE.
Tell me how you feel. Tell me love is real. Words of love you whisper soft and true. Darling, I love you.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, many congratulations on your MBE. The whole country seems very delighted indeed, but how do you feel about it, Paul?
Delighted indeed. You know, I'm glad everyone's delighted. I love it.
But I mean, is it fun for you? Or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, it'd be fun for you, wouldn't it? You know, if you just woke up one morning and he said, you know, it's great.
Ringo, how did you first hear about it?
Well, we heard about it 6 weeks ago when we got the forms to fill in, and then we knew that we were going to get it 2 days ago, officially.
How did these forms come? What, straight through the post or in the fan mail or what?
I don't, just in brown envelopes. They were delivered by somebody, you know, by hand. I think one of Brian's secretaries.
I'll tell you.
All right,
I'll
well, how did it happen then, John?
They were sent from the Prime Minister at Downing Street to our manager's office, and they were delivered from there to Twickenham, where we were filming. And then about the day later, we just found them, and we thought we were being called up for the army. And then we opened them, and we found out we weren't. We weren't.
All said that line.
I know, but this is at ITV. The other, that was the other one.
I see.
Why is the MBE awarded, though?
I don't know.
No idea.
In fact, you know, I know nothing about it. It's just that we've got it, and it's nice to have, and it doesn't make you more respectable or anything, I don't think. Maybe other people think it does. Doesn't make me any more respectable. I'm still a scruff.
Well, I was wondering about that. Ringo, how do you feel about going to the palace in a morning suit and all that?
I don't mind, you know. It's all right, when I buy one.
You haven't got one?
No, not yet. I've got an evening suit, if that'll do.
I don't think it will.
Different from a morning suit.
Well, I'll just go in my pyjamas then.
He was always very available to people. I bumped into him in town just after he'd come back from from Hamburg the first time. And George always stopped and talked to you. And he was generally interested in what people had to say. You'd have a good old natter. And this particular time he said to me, he said, look, you know, the first all-nighters on at a club called the Iron Door. And he said that was along with people like Jerry and the Pacemakers, Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, and sort of a whole variety of Liverpool groups at the time. And got a couple of tickets for that, went along to it, had to queue to get in the flipping thing, even though you had tickets. And it was a pretty seedy place, backstreet place, just off Dale Street. I think that's where Cilla Black started as a hat check girl. And they were half an hour late coming in. They then sort of tuned up for 3/4 of an hour, and the place was sort of, you know, getting a bit sort of restless by then. But when they went into this, they left everybody else absolutely standing. It was pure magic. Well, afterwards I went up to see them. They went in the upper tier room and they're having a beer, and I went up to see George just to say, you know, great show. And he came across, he got up from me, came across and was having a natter. And then up comes John Lennon. I'd never met John Lennon in my life, and he comes across and sort of says, "Hey, how are you, man? You know, how are you doing? Sort of, no, great to see you again." And started to push George out the way. And he wasn't taking any of that. They always say he was subservient. Not at all. He sort of said, he just looked at him and he said, "Don't be so bloody stupid, John." He said, "You don't know him." He said, "Now piss off." And we can always rephrase that if you like, but he basically was not going to be put aside by him at all. But I found that he stood up to them very well. People get this idea that you know, he was in their shadow, but I don't think he was in the slightest. He just was a quiet guy, and when he had something to say, he said it very forcibly.
Well, I find myself in distinguished company.
The second time.
And may I, without more ado, introduce George Harrison,
Hello.
MBE.
Oh, thank you.
John Lennon, MBE.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Ringo Starr, MBE. And Paul McCartney, MBE.
How do you do?
Now, a general question to all you gentlemen, and I must call you gentlemen now. How do you feel, John, about having the MBE?
I feel great. You know, we're honoured. We are, though.
Were you terribly surprised?
Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody was, I think. Well, I think we were the most surprised. Us and Donald Zack.
George,
Yeah?
what was your first reaction when you heard you'd been awarded the MBE?
Well, I didn't believe it really at first, but then when they sent me all bits of paper saying that, and you wrote it in the papers, well, you had to believe it. It's great, you know. Didn't expect it at all, you know.
Ringo hasn't told his mum yet. Is this true, Ringo? You haven't told your mum about this yet?
No, she'll have read about it today, though.
Were you surprised at all?
Yes, very.
When did you first know you had been awarded the MBE?
2 days ago. We had the form 6 weeks ago to fill in, you know, but we didn't know we'd actually got it till 2 days ago.
Did the form come with the rest of your fan mail, or did it come separately? In a very sort of impressive envelope?
Yes, we all thought it was caller papers. I keep using that line, it's not mine. And but when we opened them, it was, you know, if you'd like to have an MBE, sign here. So we did.
Is that the way?
Yes, so we signed our name, Richard Starkey, you know, MBE, not Ringo.
Thank you very much.
Still the same Ringo.
Sent 2 bottle tops and we got it.
Paul, how do you react to having this award?
I think it's great. Marvellous. You know, it is, isn't it? Well, you can't say anything about it. It's just
Do you think you
great.
really deserve an award like the MBE?
I don't know, you know. What does it matter? We got it, you know. Doesn't it?
You got a medal
Yes.
of the actual MBE. Where will you wear it?
I hope it's on a bit of a tag so you can shove it around your neck, you know, because if it's got a pin, you wreck all your suits. You know, I want a bit of a tab on that.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Well, if you're asking about George's girlfriends, I'm afraid that the only one I have direct knowledge of was a sort of very dark, raven-haired, gorgeous little Welsh lass called Valmire Roberts, who was all of 5 years old. And we used to vie to sit next to her in class. And she was with us at Dovedale till about sort of 7 years old. Both George, myself, and a guy called Paul Hogarth fancied her like mad, and we used to sort of manipulate it to try and... They used to have a merit system in the class, and they used to move you around according to how many stars you got that week for the work you'd done. Well, it got to be that people were manipulating whether they worked hard or didn't work hard as to how close they could get to Valmire Roberts. And George was very much amongst on that little lot. I think over the 3 years we were in the sort of, you know, the infants together, we all went out with her at some stage or another, but I think that was probably engineered by her. I often wonder what happened to Valmire Roberts, but thereafter, girlfriends, I really didn't come across any of George's girlfriends.